And welcome to another edition of Life Outdoors. I'm your host, Chris Reckling. Thank you for joining us here on Life Outdoors. This is a show about everything that's happening in outdoors here in Hampton Roads. And as you know, if you know anything about the life that we live in here in Hampton Roads in this northeast area of our area, you know that there's a lot of water, and today we're going to talk about a super important subject, and it's being safe around the water, and that would be with lifeguarding. And there's no better host to have today than Tom Gill. He is the president and chief of the Virginia Beach Life Saving Service. Tom, welcome to Life Outdoors.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So before we talk about the do's and don'ts and what you need to know when you're around the water, we're going to talk all things about lifeguarding and the lifeguarding service here in Virginia Beach. Tell us about yourself. You've been at it for quite a long time, 30 years, right?
This was
30, when did you start? How many
35.
Years? 35 years.
1991 was my first summer, rookie summer. And I've never imagined, right? Nobody imagines you started a lifeguarding job, a summer lifeguarding job, that you would ever still be there 35 years later, and much less kind of running the show. Because you think about how many people that have gone through there, and I mean, we're talking a lot of very important, famous, wonderful people who have worked for Virginia Beach Life Saving Service, which is just 95 years old now, and going to have their 100th anniversary, our 100th anniversary in 2030. So that's very exciting. But yeah, I started off I needed a summer job. I've been doing some swim coaching before that, and then one thing led to another, and I didn't have a swim coaching job, so I showed up at the beach with hat in hand and said, somebody let me have a job here, and met Duke and Dusty Hennett, the Hennett family, who started this whole show way back in 1930. And I got a chance to go out there and compete for a job, which I thought was pretty cool. You had to do the run, swim, run back in the day, and then ended up on a lifeguard stand with some old friends that I hadn't seen in a while. And they're telling me how this is all going to work, and not just how much it's going to work, but how much fun it's going to be. And if you'd ever told me how much fun this would be, I would have just signed up a long time ago. Probably glad I didn't. Probably glad I was a little older when I started than some. And then, started the work. And on one of the very first days, really the first day I had my own stand, where I was not a relief guard giving breaks to people, but just had my own stand, made a rescue, and that was the rest was history after that.
You said a lot of fun, but there's a lot of responsibility, and you just, when you're sitting there on the stand and it's a rough day and you've got a couple other people in your area, that's a lot of responsibility. I mean, how does a young 18, 16, 17, 19-year-old kid how do they handle that?
Well, first of all, they don't understand the responsibility they have.
Right.
That's probably our greatest challenge in hiring and keeping people out there, is convincing them how important of a job they do without scaring them of how important a job they do. It is so hard. That is the fine line that we walk every day. Luckily, though, the other biggest part, I mean, the one thing that I stress to everyone that comes to work there, and this is a no, this is, you can't not do it. You have to be a part of the team. And they understand that team concept. They're all coming from other teams. This is why you play t-ball and flag football and soccer when you're 5, 6 years old, because you start to learn these things about team aspect. And I can promise you, with a beach as big as ours, with as many people as we have working down there, we have to have a team effort to save people day in and day out.
Yeah, and you just never know. I mean, on a day like this, where the conditions are rough, there's an undertow, there's a current and all that, you expect for people to get in trouble. That's why you bring them back. But it's on those calm days when that's when you just never know. And that comes down to the individuals, are they competent in the water? Can they swim?
Yeah, that's what scares me more about for the pool lifeguards. And I think all lifeguards are important. You will never hear me tell you that, working the pool is easy. I think it's probably more dangerous, because you never expect anything to happen at that pool, right? I mean, you're just thinking, I know all the people that are here and nothing's going to go wrong, and then things can go wrong. So I think everybody that walks in our door, and once they start working, they see there's just so many dynamic aspects of the job, whether it be the weather, whether it be the conditions, whether it just be the people that medical emergencies. We just have so many people out there. They are bound to determine things are going to happen. And even when it's the quietest days, they know that they've got to stay on task. And the other part of that team environment that we have is when somebody's getting off task a little bit, they've got people around them to make sure that they're seeing what they see. And if they're missing something, where they're distracted by something, whatever it may be, we have a team that works together out there, which, unlike some other coastal lifeguard agencies where you might be the only lifeguard, 500 meters to a mile away is your next guard stand. So you're really on your own. We're not like that. We are as the closest, as it's the closest thing to pool lifeguarding as you can be, with having people all around you and having instant backup when you need it.
It's dense. How many lifeguards do you have on a summer day?
So on a fully staffed summer day, we'll have 49 lifeguard stands. That's 41 on the resort beach, which goes from essentially the jetty rocks to 42nd Street. So basically one lifeguard every block there. We have 6 stands down at Croatan Beach, which goes all the way from the Pendleton Surfing Beach through the Rudy Inlet Surfing Beach there. Mm-hmm. And the middle area in between, as we call the Croatan residential area, we have 4 stands in that area as well. And then we have 2 more stands up in front of the Wyndham at 57th Street. Beyond that, though, we have 5 or 6 supervisors just patrolling the resort, 1 or 2 supervisors down at Croatan, 2 more that are supervising 57th Street, but their bigger job is patrolling the entire north end, 42nd Street to 89th Street. Huge gap. Huge area.
Yeah, you guys are responsible for anyone in the water, other medical emergencies, lost children. There's a lot going on, and when you have thousands of people spread across that area, it can get kind of busy.
Yeah, so we actually are a Department of EMS non-transport BLS agency. So we are your regular rescue squad, minus the ambulances to take people to the hospital, and minus the drug boxes to do ALS, because even though we have probably 20 paramedics on our staff, we are a BLS agency. We were ALS for a couple of minutes back in the early 2000s, and that was hard to do. It was hard to keep the drugs from boiling over in the back of the trucks. That's really what it boiled down to, excuse the pun. Right. And but our responsibility is really east of the hotel line. So from the hotel line to the ocean front, everything in between there. So boardwalk, grassy area. If there's a medical emergency on the boardwalk, we're going.
Very first responders.
Yeah, we're the first responders. We're the ones that are going to show up first, direct contact with the Virginia Beach dispatchers, coordinating with fire, EMS, police when necessary, to get everybody on board. We're take over incident command for major incidents, and until the next battalion chief from the fire department shows up or something like that. And it's a great working relationship, and we're lucky to be a part of such an incredible community of first responders. But we are pretty unique in the fact that we are a private organization, contracted by the city, as opposed to being a municipally run organization.
Since 1930.
Since 1930.
We're going to take a short break here on Life Outdoors, and we're going to come back with Tom Gill and talk more about rescues and saves and how they stack up against the rest of the country. So stick around, everyone. You're watching Life Outdoors. Welcome back to Life Outdoors. I'm your host, Chris Reckling. We're joined today by Tom Gill. He is the president and chief there at the Virginia Beach Life Saving Service. In the first segment here at Life Outdoors, we talked about a little bit about the history and the nuts and bolts of the Virginia Beach Life Saving Service. Let's talk about, on a regular summer day, how many rescues, how many incidents do you guys get involved with? And then overall, a summer. I mean, just generally, what kind of numbers are we? How many saves a summer? It's hard to say, right? Every day is different, and every summer's different, right?
Every day is different, every summer's different. I think a couple of years ago, we almost hit 1,000 people pulled out in the summer. We were just having this crazy, wild, fun summer where the beach had set itself up where it was scalloped, as we call it, and there were little points all along the beach, which caused water to flow out there, and people would come off the sandbars into these little deep areas and we just go pick them out. It was so much fun. That was a great season. On average, I'd say we probably pull out around anywhere between 400 and 500 people a summer. On a day, we can do 0 or we could do 60, 80. Not, you just never know. And you add into the medical, when things are popping, there's a lot going on water-wise, and then usually because of that, there's more medical stuff. The more people on the beach, the more chances there are for things to happen. And we're going to respond to it all and deal with it all as best and fast and efficiently as we can.
Okay, so every day you check the weather. You know what the weather's going to be. Red flags go up. People can only go up to their knees. Does that cut down on rescues when it's rough like that? Because if you're in knee-deep water, the next thing you know, you could be in chest-deep water and sucked in. I don't know. What's it like when you have rough conditions?
Rough conditions for us, yeah, we will definitely assess things as they come along, and then it'll be funny because we have a response team that goes out first thing in the morning at 7:30 a.m. and they're kind of putting equipment out, but they're ready to respond to any emergency on the beach, in the resort area, and the boardwalk. And they'll come back and be like, it's really nice out. I go, yeah, but the forecast is telling us it's not going to be that nice. You know how the mornings are. They're calm. Everything's sweet and wonderful. And then by the time we get out there and we put lifeguards on stands and they're on duty starting at 9:30 during the main summer season. And, things have already changed. And I'm like, come on, guys, we still need those red flags. We're going to put those red flags up. And then a red flag day is helpful. It's helpful to have the red flags up. It gives people a little bit of knowledge that, hey, maybe this isn't as nice and calm as we want it to be or we think it is. And we hope that they interact with, if somebody comes up and says, what's the red flag flying for? Because we have dangerous conditions, increased risk of rip currents today because high winds, because of bigger surf. When it's really nasty, and what we had for a lot of this most recent summer, it was a lot of high wind northeast days where there was some surf, but it was all blown out, looked nasty. It didn't really look like that much fun. People still want to go in the water because they want to go in the water, and you come to the beach, you want to do that. But it's not as hard to deal with one of those days as it is when it's just really glassy, great surf, big surf coming in, and then the water's just moving, right? The water's just moving, and you go, those are the dangerous ones.
Yeah.
And, whether we make a rescue every day or for 0 days, I think there were times in this most recent summer that I was checking my radios to make sure they were still on. It was so hot and stagnant for a long period of time. And then, the winds picked up, the humidity came down, and the water just constantly moved. And we did a lot of rescues in that time period. But we want to be active. We want to be up and doing the job. I hate to say it's obviously more fun when you're up there having to be on your toes and seeing things and getting out there when it gets real still and stagnant and everybody's just sort of, and it's hot. Those are the really tough days for the guards because they are out there, rain or shine, heat or cool, it doesn't matter. They're up on those stands until we get the lightning and thunder or just the absolute nor'easter conditions that you can't put people up on when the winds get so high, we're not going to put people out there just because it's, those stands they're not cemented into that beach.
Nothing worse than clearing the beach and then thunderstorms go by and then letting them back on the beach and then clearing the beach and just back and forth and back and forth.
You haven't lived until you've cleared the beach on a July weekend day.
Oh,
just
people
thousands upon thousands of people.
The tents, the everything, and just get off the beach.
And and that storm could be at Great Neck Road and never come and get us, right? It's still within a certain, it's certainly within 10 miles.
Lightning scares me.
But man, those poor guards. But we really kind of, because we used to be adamant that everybody get off the beach and the guards had to stay out there till they're off the beach. And now I don't know where that mentality came from, but my mentality is our guards have to be safe, period.
Yeah.
My responsibility is the guards' responsibility is the people in the water on the beach. My responsibility is those lifeguards, their safety. So we've really done a lot to make sure everybody gets advised. You put yourself in a safe situation. We'll have the trucks running back and forth to really try to convince people to get off that beach when it's really rolling in there.
Very few things scare me, but lightning scares me because of the randomness of it.
Should.
Okay, you are vice president of the United States Life Saving Association, USLA.
Correct.
You guys train on a regular basis. You compete against other life saving services around the country. How do you guys stack up?
Pretty good. I mean, when we have a full team, we're ready to go. We do have one of the what I would argue to be the best swimmers. One of the best swimmers for the women in the country. Sam Tatter. She'll be attending her third national team competition with the International Surf Rescue Challenge. Unfortunately, she has to go all the way to New Zealand in November to compete.
Oh,
Can you
darn.
imagine, right?
That's terrible.
It is terrible. She's was in Australia last, on the Gold Coast of Australia last fall.
They've got some good guards over there.
Oh my gosh. And so we do have some of the best. And you know, the whole competition thing, it's fun. You always want to measure yourself against others. And the great thing about lifeguard competition is there's no, you don't have a stopwatch. It's all, because the condition changes every minute.
Yep.
But, you know, it's me against the person next to me and the person next to them, and that's it. And it's
Best
so fun.
of the best.
And it's so fun. But what that does for us in the competition side of things is really motivates the lifeguards to just go work harder, get in better shape, be fitter. They've already got to be fit to be a part of our group, but they get out there and you get this culture of I want to get in the best shape of my life, and a lot of them really do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's a lot more to the USLA than just competition, you know.
What is that?
Well, I mean, the USLA is the Association of American Professional Lifeguards. Mm-hmm. We are everywhere from Virginia Beach to Maine to South Florida, all along the Gulf Coast, all along the Great Lakes, West Coast, and then you've got Hawaiian Islands. And it is people that really care about the job of lifeguarding and how we can make lifeguarding better for everybody. I think the biggest thing that we've ever done on a national level for the USLA is provide certification standards for every agency in the country. If you want to join, if you want to be a part, here's the basic things you got to do to be a lifeguard agency and be able to protect people on a daily basis. And then there's advanced agency stuff, and it's just, you know, there's PRWC, which is personal rescue watercraft. You're basically jet ski rescue kind of stuff. We have certifications for that. And a lot of that's real important. And then, of course, we're doing public education. We're trying to build our membership. We're trying to award heroic acts. So when lifeguards make the ultimate, you know, rescue that their life is in danger, we have a Medal of Valor we give. But we have had one Medal of Valor winner, Sean Millard, but a lot of national merit awards and heroic act winners from our agency for just great rescues they've made.
Great organization for sure. So we're going to take a short break now, and if you're interested, if you're a young person out there, it could be the best first job ever. We're going to tell you how you can do that. Stick around. We're talking to Tom Gill on Life Outdoors. And welcome back to Life Outdoors. I'm your host, Chris Reckling. Today we're talking about lifeguarding with Tom Gill from the Virginia Beach Life Saving Service. He's give us a little bit of history. Started in 1930 and how they stack up with the rest of the country. Then talked about the United States Life Saving Association. Any other thoughts on that?
I mean, I think stacking up with the rest of the country,
competitions, you name
one
it.
thing, but I mean, I think I would say that we are probably the largest private lifeguard service on the ocean front anywhere in the country, and one of the larger services in the country. I mean, you know, now you got your LA counties of multiple hundreds of lifeguards, and you got out of South Florida where their agencies aren't that big, but they're year round, right? They're part of their fire departments or some type of municipal department down there, and same thing on the Southern California coast. And there's places that are year-round, which is really cool, but we're not quite there yet. And I mean, that's a good thing. I like winter.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting.
Like ski season.
You know, what's interesting too is, you know, every area is different. Every beach is different. You know, the Outer Banks is different than the Virginia Beach.
Way different.
And you know, West Coast, Hawaii, it's different everywhere. There's different apparatus. There's different mechanics. There's different, you know, just a little bit of everything.
Different numbers of people on your beach.
That too.
We are wide open. You know, you go to Jersey, you better have your tag. Got to pay for your tag to get on the beach in those places. And you know, As long as you can afford the parking or afford the hotel room, whichever one it is, and it's really not that bad if you fill your car with 4 or 5 people.
Right.
It's not that bad, and come on down.
Come on down. Okay, so we mentioned, but before we went to the break, this is a great job for maybe your first job, and at some point it's great. Just talk about some of the qualifications. How old do you have to be? How do you get qualified, certified? What are the physical demands? Just go ahead. Everything.
Okay.
If somebody out there wants to become an oceanfront lifeguard, what do they need to do, Tom?
All right. First thing is you don't have to be young per se.
There you go.
Right? You could be.
But you can be 16. You have to be 16.
You have to be 16 years old.
Right.
You have to be 16 years old when you start working. You can apply before then. If you're going to turn 16 during the summer, we'll get you trained up, but you're supposed to train when you're 16 and get everything done, and that's our goal. But occasionally, you got to be able to swim a 500-meter swim in 10 minutes or less. Really, that's the qualifier. That's the one that gets the most amount of people not coming to the beach. They think, oh, I can swim. I swim in the summer where I just swim around my pool. Or, hey, the worst for me, the worst person that I lose is the really good surfer that just never learned how to swim competitively, right? Just the basic competitive. Join your summer league swim team. Join your summer league swim team.
There you go.
Learn how to swim well enough that you can swim a 500-meter swim in 10 minutes or less. That is my goal for everybody out there. Also, because that would be good, just even if you don't join us, you're able to swim well enough that you're probably going to survive most things you ever run into in the beach. So then once you've done that, you've applied, you've come to a swim test, you've passed said swim test, you're now ready to start training. You're going to get a CPR for professional rescuer certification. This is all coming from us. We're doing all in-house training. You don't have to go anywhere else to get anything else. We're going to do a advanced first aid certification for you. And then you're going to get a 40-hour surf rescue course. Starts in the classroom with me. And then, you spend a lot more time, hopefully with a lot better instructors than me, but you get out on the beach and you're doing a lot of that rotations. And then you're doing mentor days where you're sitting up in the lifeguard stand with a veteran guard. And those are the really good days. Those are when you're really learning, assuming that it's a decent day outside and you're getting to see stuff. But even then, you're up on that lifeguard stand, you're seeing it happen. So there's 40 hours of surf rescue training, and then you pass the test and we say, let's go. And even then, there's going to be some people that are going to get past that point and then go, whoa, this is real. And I'm not sure I like this. But for the people that stay, and I say 99%, 98% find this to be the best job they'll ever have.
You're part of a team.
You're part of a team. You got so much. You could not have more responsibility as a 16-year-old or 18-year-old or 19-year-old than sitting on that lifeguard stand on a busy day in the summer, watching over people having a great time, but who could in a second turn into a potential victim, drowning victim. And it's amazing to watch the maturity level of a lot of our youngsters as they come in for their first year. By the end of that season, what has transpired for them. And that's the old teacher in me, right? I taught for 6 years. I love watching the development of these people and how they grow up in a summer, and then a lot of them come back for multiple summers.
Okay, and you were a rookie guard 35 years ago, and so was I. The pay is much better now than it was.
Yeah, I mean, right now, this most recent summer, we were $17.25 an hour starting.
That's
with
excellent.
Incentive bonuses for working a lot of hours. And I think that might probably go up just a tad bit this summer, for the next summer. So vboceanrescue.com.
Okay.
We usually post the job applications open typically January 15th. We start swim tests in February, March timeframe, training sort of end of March, April. But it's a lot. It's a lot going on. People are like, oh, the summer's over and we'll see you next Memorial Day weekend. There is so much that has to happen between the time we finish one season and the time we start another. It really has become a year-round quest, if you will.
Well, congratulations on another successful season. Every year it's a successful season, and it's a great organization. It's one of those bedrock organizations at the Virginia Beach oceanfront that's been saving lives for, what'd you say, 95 years?
95 years.
95 years, and so many great swimmers and surfers get their start there, and it's something to be really proud of. Thank you for taking the time.
Thanks. And thanks to all those doctors and military and first responders and teachers and everybody else that's out there that ever got on a lifeguard stand for us. They put themselves at risk to help others, and there is no greater reward.
All right. Tom Gill with the Virginia Beach Life Saving Service. Thank you for joining us here on Life Outdoors.
Thanks.
Thank you guys for watching this episode of Life Outdoors, and don't forget to live your life outdoors.